Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Victorinox Swiss Army Maverick mechanical. I don't actually remember there being a mechanical version in the Maverick collection in the past. This might be the first one, or I might be totally wrong. Victorinox Swiss Army quietly came out with this, and I found it very compelling because I've always been a fan of the Maverick collection as a good sort of all-around mainstream timepiece, and that they added a simple mechanical one. Really, I think, made something that was a little bit more appealing to the sort of watch collector community. This has always been a good watch in quartz. There's chronograph versions and other three-hand versions, and the Maverick has been great. But it already sort of existed a little bit underneath some of the higher-end mechanical ones. So I really like that they came out with something kind of in the middle, which is not their priciest model, not their cheapest model, just sort of a good all-around mechanical sports watch from the Maverick collection. This watch is larger on the wrist. I need to get the size here. I think it's 43. Yeah, it's 43 millimeters wide. So not too super large, but you can see sort of broad lugs and a longer lug-to-lug distance. That makes it look actually pretty thin, which is nice. Good, heavy, all steel construction. One of the issues I have with this watch, it's not really an issue, is it looks like a dive watch, but it's not technically a dive watch. It has 100 meters of water resistance, which is fine for the vast majority of most people's uses, but those people that really want a dive watch experience have other options. In the Victorinox Swiss Army collection, there's the Inox diver, for example, which is good, but as of right now, I'm not sure if the brand makes any true mechanical divers, meaning like a 300 water resistant timepiece. There's plenty of other ones out there, and they've made them in the past, which we've reviewed, but right now I think that this is sort of the closest thing to that look. You do get sort of a familiar dive watch look with a rotating bezel and all those types of features that you'd be looking for. But again, you don't have the full water resistance. And one of the reasons is you don't have a screw-down crown. There's crown guards, which is nice, but there's not a screw-down crown. And because there's a display case back, sometimes, given the thickness of the crystal, that can affect the water resistance. Victorinox Swiss Army is a clever company, so when they make product decisions, it's very carefully about price, right? So they could have made it a 200 or 300 meter water resistant timepiece, but that may have added a little bit to the price, and they wouldn't have felt that consumers wanted to get it. But anyways, that's really not that big of a deal, because I think the aesthetic elements and the durability and the versatility of a watch like this sort of allow it to win. This watch comes in this dark gray, I guess they might call it black, as well as a blue version, which are popular these days. And one of the things which strikes me the most, which I like, is the symmetry on the dial. You can see things like the nice integration of the date window at 6 o'clock, not at 3, and if you cut this dial in half, it basically looks identical. And symmetry like that is something that I personally value. I do like the brushed look of the bezel, so it's a brushed steel look, which is mimicked a little bit on the dial there. You have the brushing goes in a different direction, but the combination of colors and textures is sort of just enough. It makes it interesting and not boring, but it doesn't overwhelm you, right? You have this outer ring, you have the applied hour markers, you have the inner ring, you have just the hint of the 24-hour markers. It's very common on a lot of Victorinox Swiss Army watches to have both the 12 and 24-hour scale, and they've done it very nicely here. The red seconds hand is a cliche thing to put red on there, but it always seems to look good, so they did it. Lume is pretty decent. Proportions are overall very good, so I find this dial to be very attractive. Of course, it may not be for everyone. Some people might find it a little bit generic, but for people that don't have a large watch collection or just want to get someone a gift, which is a nice mechanical watch, I really find a timepiece like this to be ideal. Bracelet is a very nice quality. You see here just a simple clasp, but what I do like they have is right here, what is that? That's a half link. I really like it when brands include half links. Essentially, that allows you to size the bracelet a little bit in a more precise fashion, and you see here you have 3 different holes which you can move the pin to even get a better fit. So kudos to Victorinox Swiss Army for remembering that people like to have a nice precise fit with bracelets. I haven't sized this yet, sorry about that, but you can see what it looks like on my wrist. Again, most of you know that my wrists are not huge, and this is the size I actually prefer because it really kind of goes all the way up and all the way down to the edge of my wrist without going over it. It's handsome, it's masculine, there's a timelessness to it. It's definitely still conservative. And so I think for that reason, a watch like this is going to appeal to a lot of people. If you are a watch collector, you might not find too much distinctive about it, meaning it doesn't really do anything that a lot of other watches don't already do. But I do think that it definitely stands out as being a pretty watch. And attractiveness goes a long way in the watch world. We know that for sure, especially when it comes to the finishing and the overall look and feel. This does feel like a good high-end timepiece, but it has a retail price of under $1,000. So that's something that is definitely worth considering. Finishing is also good. You can see a combination of brushed finishes, some polished bevel edges. Victorinox Swiss Army really took their time to make sure that this was an attractive looking timepiece in a way that of course, they put a lot of effort into a lot of their timepieces, but I was very impressed by this one, and I thought they did a very good job. So again, the movement inside is a Swiss ETA 2824 automatic. Nothing super special, but it's nice that you can see it there through the case back. You can see that it's not a decorated movement, but it does have a little custom rotor there for Swiss Army, which is nice. Price for the Swiss Army Maverick Mechanical, or Victorinox Swiss Army Maverick Mechanical, is $895, which I think is a pretty decent price for a good watch. As I said, it is available with this dark gray / black dial, as well as the blue one. You can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.